Good morning, this is Shindo. Looking again at Syria and Russia, Russia has warned the United States not to do any kind of military action in Syria. Folks, even though this is a brand new story, it's not new news. Because 4 years ago, not only Russia, but China said if the United States goes into Syria in any kind of military action, then it will be World War III. And this is the reason why people have been referring to Syria and the Syrian conflict for this long as World War III. We didn't just pull it out of our you-know-what. I don't believe the United States under Obama, the commander-in-chief of nothing, who does nothing, is going to actually go into Syria. I really don't. I don't believe he will. If he does, it would be a complete 180 turnaround for the man, so I'm not expecting it. What I do expect is tensions to continue to build, and for the next president of the United States, who I am fully convinced will be Donald Trump, to go in there and to broker a peace, thereby assuring that Donald Trump gets the attention of the world that he so desperately wants, and you Christians so desperately want to give him. I have told you who Donald Trump is, but you fools are not going to see it until you see it. So, you're going to make your own bed so you can lie in it. This is from CBS News. Russia warns U.S. of, quote, tectonic consequences, unquote, in Syria. Beirut. Russia warns the United States Saturday against carrying out any of the attacks on Syrian government forces, saying it would have a repercussion across the Middle East as government forces captured a hill on the edge of the northern city of Aleppo under the cover of airstrikes. Meanwhile, airstrikes on Aleppo struck a hospital in the eastern rebel-held neighborhood of Sakhour on Saturday, putting it out of service, according to the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights and the local coordination committees. They said at least one person was killed in the airstrike. Russian news agencies quoted Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova as saying that the U.S. intervention against Assad regime forces in the 5-year-old Syrian war, quote, would lead to terrible tectonic consequences, not only on the territory of the country, but also in the region on the whole, unquote. She said regime change in Syria would create a vacuum that would be, quote, quickly filled by, quote, terrorists of all stripes. Fighting rages in Aleppo. U.S.-Russian tensions over Syria has escalated since the breakdown of ceasefire last month, with each side blaming the other for its failure. Syrian government forces backed by Russian warplanes have launched a major onslaught on rebel-held parts of Aleppo. Opposition groups claim Russian airstrikes have killed more than 9,000 people inside Syria. Syrian troops pushed ahead in their offensive in Aleppo on Saturday, capturing the strategic al-Shaqif hill near the Palestinian refugee camp of Handarat that government forces captured from rebels earlier this week, according to state TV. The hill is on the northern edge of Aleppo, Syria's largest city and former commercial center. The powerful ultra-conservative Ahir al-Sham militant group said rebels regained control Saturday of several positions they lost in Aleppo on the Bustan al-Basha neighborhood. State media says 13 people were wounded when rebels shelled the central government-held neighborhood of Medan. In the rebel-held portion of Aleppo, opposition activist Ahmed al-Khatib described the hospital known as M10 as one of the largest in Aleppo. He posted photographs on his Twitter account showing the damage, including beds covered with dust, a hole in the roof, and debris covering the street outside. A doctor in the hospital told the Aleppo Medical Center, an activist collective, that thousands of people were treated in the compound in the past, adding that 2 people were killed on Saturday's airstrike and several were wounded. Quote, "A real catastrophe will hit medical institutions in Aleppo if the direct shelling continues to target hospitals and clinics," unquote, said the doctor, whose name was not given. He said, "The whole hospital is out of service." The UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, Stephen O'Brien, said the city's healthcare system is in critical need of relief, Reuters reports. Quote, "The health system is on the verge of total collapse, with patients being turned away and no medicines available to treat even the most common ailments," unquote, O'Brien said. Quote, "With clean water and food in very short supply, the number of people requiring urgent medical evacuations is likely to rise dramatically in the coming days," unquote. Opposition activists have blamed the President Bashar Assad's forces on Russia for airstrikes that hit civil defense units and clinics in the city, where eastern rebel-held neighborhoods are besieged by government forces and pro-government militiamen. On Friday, the International Medical Humanitarian Organization, Doctors Without Borders, demanded that the Syrian government and his allies, quote, "halt the indiscriminate bombings that has killed and wounded hundreds of civilians, many of them children," unquote, over the past week in Aleppo. Quote, "Bombs are raining from Syria-led coalition planes, and the whole of East Aleppo has become a giant kill box," unquote, said Zisco Velaga, director of operations for the group. Quote, "The Syrian government must stop the indiscriminate bombing, and Russia, as an indispensable political and military ally of Syria, has a responsibility to exert the pressures at the top of this," unquote. Officials have called the situation in Aleppo a, quote, "slaughterhouse of children." It is said from September 20th, 21st to 26th, hospitals still functioning in Aleppo reported receiving more than 822 wounded, including at least 221 children, and more than 278 dead bodies, including 96 children, according to the Directorate of Health in East Aleppo. Sweden's Foreign Minister Margot Wallström criticized attacks on civilian targets, writing in her Twitter account, quote, unacceptable to bomb civilians, children, and hospitals in Aleppo. No humanity. Assad and Russia moving further away from peace," unquote. In the eastern province of Deir al-Zor, warplanes in the U.S.-led coalition destroyed several buildings in the Euphrates River, according to Syrian state news agency SANA and Deir al-Zor 24, an activist media collective. The province is a stronghold of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS. SANA said that among the bridges destroyed was the Tariff Bridge that links Deir al-Zor with the northern Syrian city of Raqqa, the extremist de facto capital. Now there's going to be people who start making hay with this, although I have heard nothing about this on the morning news. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. I mean, all the news is this morning on CNN, was talking about how they found part of Donald Trump's 1995 tax returns. They found part of it, and according to CNN, they can't even say whether or not they are actually Donald Trump's tax returns. This is what they're talking about. This, what's going on in Syria, is what they should be talking about. But if you want the news, then you can come here to my channel. So please, click like. Please, share my videos. Comment like an adult. And subscribe to my channel. Please also, at the end of this video, you're going to see a link to another video. I would like you to watch that. If you do anything, watch those other videos, because that's the purpose of this channel. It's not just to spread the news. This right here in Syria, among other things, but it tends to be the major flashpoint area right now. This is what's going to lead to a great world leader who comes in and brings peace. Now, folks, if you know anything at all about what's going on, you should wake up to who this world leader is. But as I can plainly see, the amount of people on this planet who are actually, quote, awake is a very, very small amount. Very small. I am a rational human being, okay? And I look at these things rationally. I don't see that they want you to get emotional about children being killed in Syria. Well, what about the children that the United States forces kills and have been killing in Iraq, in Afghanistan, over the course of the last 15 years? We don't ever hear anything about that. We don't hear anything about that because this, obviously, is part of a bigger, darker purpose. And folks, you might like to call it a number of different things. You call it the New World Order. The New World Order is already here. You call it all kinds of things. You have your different little words for these people that are in control. Well, I honestly believe that it's not just human. It's not just human. I don't know what else it is, but I know that there's a power and there's a force behind this. And it's all leading up to one grand thing, and that is a one world leader. And fools will accept someone who they firmly believe is on their side when all the evidence is right there for you to see otherwise. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. It's so difficult for me to say that since so many people out there are. This is Shindo. Have a good Sunday.